Okay, we'll look at some of the problems that are in the homework for section 11.4. All right, let's say we want to identify this polyhedron that is on the right-hand side of the video. And we were given a choice of answers, either a truncated cube, a quadratic prism, a pentagonal prism, or a quadratic prism. Okay, as you can see here, it's not a prism, and it's not a pyramid, so it must be a cube. But it's a truncated cube, and here's why. Notice that the edge of that cube has been kind of cut out or sliced off by a plane. So in this case here, this particular figure on the right would be a truncated cube. Okay, if you remember what truncated means, that usually an edge or a portion of that geometric or three-dimensional figure has been sliced off by a plane. Okay, now problem number 2 looks like this. Pictured on the right are stacks of solid cubes, and you want to determine the number of cubes stacked together, and the number of faces that are glued together. Okay, I have an illustration of that. That's on this paper, and it's right here. And here we want to find out the number of cubes that are stacked together. If you look at this, you'll see in the front you have 4 cubes total, 2 on each side. And then in the middle you have 4 cubes that are stacked 2 by 2 on each side. And then another 2 stacks of 4 cubes. So here, that's 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, that's 16. And this is 18, 20, 21, 22. So actually, in this case here, you'll have 22 cubes all together. I'm sorry, they're 20. Just here. This is 16 total, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm sorry. So that's a total of 20 cubes all together. Now we want to find out the number of faces that are glued together. Okay. Now, each cube has 6 faces. So that means if I have 20 cubes, multiply that by 6, I'm looking at 120 faces on all 20 cubes. Well, let's count up how many cubes, how many faces that we already see. Okay. Looking at this cube from the front, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the front, and also I have 8 in the back. The top, if you look at it from the top, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the front, and also 6 in the front, but I also have 6 at the bottom as well, because I can pull this and show you that there's 6 at the bottom. On the right side, I have 10 on the right side and 10 on the left, as you can see here. So now, if I add these together, this is going to be 20, 28, 36, 42, 48. That means I have 48 faces. Now I'm going to subtract 48 from 120, because I want to find out how many of those faces are glued together. Because I see a total of 48 faces, but the remaining will be the number of faces that are glued together. That's in this case 72. So the number of faces glued together will be simply 72. Okay, now the next problem looks like this. Here you want to choose the figure below. Now you're told that the figure on the right side represents a card attached to a wire. And you want to determine what figure would look like if the card were revolved around that wire. In this case here, if it's revolved around the wire, it's going in the form of a circle. So if we have this wire and this card, and we revolve this in a circular fashion, the top and the bottom, since it's a rectangle, the top and the bottom would be a circle. So that means C will have to be the representation of this particular card with a wire attached to it. Because it couldn't be D, because it's only got one circle at the top. Okay? And it couldn't be A or B, because if it's being revolved, it has to be in the form of a circle. So the correct answer in this case would be C, which is a circular cylinder. And the last problem. Pictured on the right are stacks of solid cubes again, and we're going to determine the number of cubes in that stack and the number of faces that are glued together. Okay, now I have a illustration of that as well. Sometimes it's easier to see it visually than it is just on paper, and that's what it looks like. Alright, let's count up the number of cubes that we have. This first row has 4 cubes. This second row has a total of 8. Because you got 4 on top and 4 on the bottom. And then the last row in the back has a total of 12 cubes. 4 on top, 4 in the middle, and 4 on the bottom. So if we add, in this case, 4 plus 8 plus 12, that would give us 24 cubes. So that means that there are 24 cubes in this particular figure that are stacked. And how many faces are glued together? Alright, let's take a look. In a cube, there's 6 faces, so we have 24 cubes. So 24 times 6 will be 144. That means that there are 144 faces altogether. Let's look at the faces that we see right now and count those up. From the front, there are 12 faces in the front, and there are 12 faces in the back. Because if there are 12 in the front, if I rotate this, you'll see that there are 12 faces in the back. And also, if we look at this from the top, you'll see that there are 12 faces on the top. And there's also going to be 12 on the bottom. Okay, as you can see here. And then lastly, there's 6 on the left-hand side and another 6 on the right side. So in this case here, this is going to be 48 plus 12, that's 60. So that means that there's 60 faces in that we automatically see. So if we subtract 60 faces from 144, we can find out how many faces are glued together. In this case, it's simply going to be 84. So there's a grand total of 84 faces that are glued together in this particular picture. Okay? This should be enough to assist you with some of the homework problems that are on the MyMathLab.